Tomorrow, when Joan of Arc burns at the stake, I want you to watch carefully. Not the young woman in the flames, but the men who sentenced her to burn. The English will carry out the sentence. But when nothing but her ashes remains, it is the... For you see, this spectacle is not really about the Maid of Orleans. Her death is only as important as the benefit that it brings us. What burns on that pyre is not Joan the... You are young, my son. You have never seen our duchy as anything but a powerful state. But we were not always so mighty. In the greater tale of history, Burgundy is but a newborn power, carved from the lands of the kingdoms and empires that surround us. Our ascent began with John the Fearless, the father of our current duke. Up until then, the Dukes of Burgundy and the Armagnac faction had been... Louis, the leader of the Armagnac faction, had been using the funds of the French crown for years to stifle John in any way possible. Tiring of these insults and Louis's abuse of royal influence, John decided to end their rivalry for good. Just 3 years into his reign, he sent 15 men to stab the Armagnac Duke to death on the street. It was a true show of force. In one bloody act, John, the Armagnac faction, now leaderless, began preparing for a long war. To keep the Burgundians occupied, they supported a revolt in the city of Liège, which was ruled by John. John the Fearless would not let such unrest spoil his plans for the Grand Duchy. And so he marched his armies north.
The Armagnacs are inciting the local population to take up arms and rebel. John, let us put an end to this insubordination.
Si, il bouge du bois immédiatement. I bâti. Bonjour, vos ordres. I vai. I bouge du bois.
Bonjour. I compro. Sì. I bati. I bati.
Vous autres, Yvette, c'est Mastrou. Harm.
These simple-minded rebels in Liège seem to think that our scouts would not discover their secret gunpowder depots. How wrong they are. Destroy the depots, so the Liège rebels can no longer make use of their cannons. grain that the villagers had stored in this mill will now feed the Burgundian army.
I compro. I batti. I batti. I batti. I batti.
Every coin that we take is one less coin that our enemies can spend. There are many to be found in this market.
Sì, posso immediatement. I batti. I batti. I batti. I batti. I batti. I batti. I batti.
The grain that the villagers had stored in this mill will now feed the Burgundian army.
I batti. 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 I batti.
It is past time to take back what is mine. Charge, my knights, charge! What are you waiting for, John the Fearless? Join me!
The grain that the villagers had stored in this mill will now feed the Burgundian army.
I cultivo.
The grain that the villagers had stored in this mill will now feed the Burgundian army.
Sì, I vai. I batti.
Davis.
Qua. I batti. I batti. I batti. Buongiorno. Immediatement. I vai. I batti. 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 I bouche du beau.
Sì, I compru. Sì, mastru. I compru. I ven. I compru. E tace. E vam sei. E tace. I ven. E vam sei. Zod. Hard. Sì, mastru.
Sire, your nefarious enemies in Paris have renewed the charges against you for freeing France from this insane tyrant.
Oh, these bastards. They seem not to take me seriously. I will show them. No more mercy to our enemies! Spare no one!
Sì, mastru. E tace. I ven. I compru.
Buongiorno. I liberai. I batti. I mini.
Sì, mastru. Zod, I ven.
Every coin that we take is one less coin that our enemies can spend.
Davis.
There are many to be found in this market.
I ven. E tace.
The grain that the villagers had stored in this mill will now feed the Burgundian army. Lumber and stone were stored in this trade workshop. We will make good use of these resources.
Soldaten. Avancez. Pozor, compru. Sì. Avutavis, sì, mastru. Pozor.
Pozor, sì. Ibati. Ibati.
Sì. Avutavis. Avancez.
The grain that the villagers had stored in this mill will now feed the Burgundian army. Lumber and stone was stored in this trade workshop. We will make good use of these resources.
Pozor, compru. E tace.
Sì, i bouge du bois. Ah, sì.
Sì, Ibati.
Lumber and stone was stored in this trade workshop. We will make good use of these resources.
Mine, sì, y compreux. Y compreux. Y mine.
Sì, Iven. Avutavis, sì, mastru. Pozor, i compru. Avutavis, sì, mastru. Iven. Avancez. E tace.
Ra, y vai. Immédiatement.
Sì, pozor, i compru. Sì, mastru. Avancez.
Lumber and stone was stored in this trade workshop. We will make good use of these resources.
Sì, i compru. E tace, Iven. Avancez. I compru, sì, mastru. Iven.
We have destroyed one of the rebels' gunpowder stores, sire.
Avutavis, sì, mastru.
Bonjour, vos ordres, compre. I reparai, i push du bo. Sì, i bati.
Buongiorno, i batti. Sì. Sì, i vai. Sì.
Sì, mastru. Vos ordres, i compru. Sì, mastru.
Fra. Compre. I batti.
Sì, avanti. E tacci.
Lumber and stone was stored in this trade workshop. We will make good use of these resources.
Avutavis.
Our Duke has been wounded. Return him to safety so that he can recover from his wounds. Every coin that we take is one less coin that our enemies can spend.
Avanti.
There are many to be found in this market.
E tacci.
The grain that the villagers had stored in this mill will now feed the Burgundian army.
Service. I compru. E tacci. Avanti. Service. E tacci. I compru. Avanti. Vos ordres. Sì, mastru. I compru. E tacci. Sì. Avanti. E tacci. Avanti. I compru. Sì, mastru. Service. E tacci. Sì. Sì, mastru. Avanti.
Both gunpowder depots are in ruins, sire. Without their cannons, the rebels will be an easier target.
Sì, mastru. Avanti. Avutavis. I compru. E tacci. I compru. Avanti. E tacci. Avanti. Vos ordres. E tacci. Sì.
The grain that the villagers had stored in this mill will now feed the Burgundian army. Every coin that we take is one less coin that our enemies can spend. There are many to be found in this market.
Avanti. Avanti. Sì. E tacci. Sì, mastru. I compru. Avanti.
has surrendered. But I will not show mercy to these traitors. Drive all rebels out of their hiding places. Hang them all! Wipe out their entire families while you are at it!
The battle fearless. He rode in triumph to Paris, and his armies entered the city without a fight. The Armagnac plot had failed. Instead, John had the 15-year-old son of the deceased duke brought before him. Still mourning the death of his father.
A cruel act, you say? And that it was.
But remember, my son, that cruelty was not John's goal, only a means to an end. By orchestrating, it was one insult too many for the proud Armagnacs, and the struggle between the two factions would... John the Fearless was now the most powerful man in France, now led by the fearsome Count Bernard. They built an alliance against John that included the Dukes of Orléans and Bourbon, and the Count of Alençon. Bernard, for John, this was the last straw. He marched his army out of Paris to face the burgeoning alliance. And so France...
Bloodthirsty southern rabble to lay waste to our beloved country. We will hunt down the Écorcheurs, one by one.
E tace. Evansei.
There they are! Engage these haughty Burgundians!
Mercenary scum is ousted. Quickly, clear the debris and build a camp. Bernard and his vile companions will attack soon. We need to be prepared when the battle begins. We cannot hide here and let the enemy take the initiative. There are numerous villages in the region that we should occupy before the Armagnacs can.
The Armagnacs have gained control of a village. This cannot go unchecked.
Sì. I reparai. I reparai. I bus du bois.
You Burgundians are a rich people, they say. And it is known that you're always looking for capable soldiers. We are at your disposal. If you can afford us, of course.
Sì. I baci, i baci, i baci, i baci, i baci.
We have captured a... Its inhabitants will gather resources for us now.
Buongiorno. Vosotros irreparai.
Bonjour. Vosotros. Ibati.
Immédiatement. Oui. Bon.
Fa. Buongiorno. Vosotros irreparai. Ibati. 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 Ibati.
You Burgundians think you can do without our longbows?
Bonjour.
Well, the Armagnacs do appreciate our services. We will meet on the battlefield!
Si. Davis. Si, bon.
Irreparai.
Sì.
Sì.
Sì, ma sto compreso. Abu Davis. Ivanze, e tacce. Harm. E tacce, Ive. Harm.
Fa irreparai.
Bonjour.
Buongiorno. Ibati. 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 Ibati.
Sì, I compreux. Ibati. Vosotros.
Vosotros y mí. Sí. Y compra. Y push to walk. Vosotros. Y push to walk.
My men have admired their shiny, polished armor long enough. It is time to crush these Burgundian upstarts.
That sound that you hear is not thunder. It is the sound of marching boots coming to destroy you. I am the Duc d'Alençon. Remember that name well, John.
Buongiorno. Sì. Compra immédiatement. Ibati. Ibati.
Sì, ma e non sei.
I batti. I batti. Vosotros i batti. Sì.
The Duke has been wounded. We must continue the fight without him while he recovers.
The Armagnacs now control all villages in the vicinity. How could you allow this to happen, men? Quickly, recapture the villages before it is too late.
You killed my father, and somehow evaded justice for this heinous crime, but my day has come. I will have my vengeance,
Vosotros.
and it will be sweet.
That was a close thing, men.
Sì.
We have taken back one of the villages just in time. Do not allow the Armagnacs to take control of all of the settlements again.
Vos ordres immédiatement. Imine.
I batti. Immediately. Sì.
You are nothing but a devious murderer who has escaped justice for far too long. But mark my words, John, I will right this wrong.
This war is cruel, and many of my men have already paid with their lives. I am afraid that we will need more money if you want us to continue risking our necks for you. This war is cruel, and many of my men have already... paid with their lives. I am afraid that we will need more money if you want us to continue risking our necks for you.
Il cultive. i vai. Là. Osorros. I bati. Sì. I busco. I bati.
Sì, i re. Harva. Vosotros. I comprus. E tace. E lancete. Sì. Harva.
Buongiorno. Là.
Va i vai. Immediatement. I bati.
Immédiatement. Sì.
Just look at all of these graves. First the Black Plague and now this endless war. Will France ever find peace?
Buongiorno. Osorros. I vai. Sì. Immédiatement. I bati.
Buongiorno. Sì. I fatti. Vosotros. I fatti.
Ra. I compreux. I bati.
This war is cruel, and many of my men have already paid with their lives. I am afraid that we will need more money if you want us to continue risking our necks for it.
Buongiorno. Sì. I bati. Si. Il bouge tout immédiatement. I bati. Vosotros. I compreux. Ra. I bati. Sì. Buongiorno. Sì. I bati.
Ra. I compreux. Sì. Vosotros. Sì. I fatti. I push to vai. I baci. Sì. I vai, sì, immédiatement. I baci. Sì.
This war is cruel, and many of my men have already paid with their lives. I am afraid that we will need more money if you want us to continue risking our necks for you.
Immédiatement. Buongiorno. Immédiatement.
Uz ordine. Sì, mastro. E tace. E vanze.
Ra. Ra. Buongiorno. Uz ordine.
Sì, i compro. Sì, mastro. E tace. Davis. E vanze.
I compro. Sì, vai.
I vai. I baci.
We will meet again, John. France will never be yours.
The Armagnac alliance was broken, for now. But even as he was victorious on one front, John faced a serious setback in Paris. A revolt by the Butchers' Guild, which was loyal to Burgundy, had spiraled out of. John retreated to his domains in Burgundy to regroup. But he would not be able to rest easily. Across the sea, An old foe of the French had been lying in wait, anticipating the right moment to strike. In England, they celebrate the Battle of Agincourt as a victory over France. In truth, it was a victory only over the Armagnacs. The Burgundians stayed out of the fight, and John eagerly watched. Still, the English invasion of France had swiftly turned in Henry's favor. With the road to Paris sensing his time to strike, John the Fearless rallied his armies. He would race the English to Paris and seize it from the Armagnacs before Henry could arrive.
Do not let up, men! We have to...
We will help you, Burgundians. The Armagnacs' reign of terror must be brought to an end.
The gate is ours, but there is no time to rest. We must conquer Paris before the English arrive and take what is rightfully mine.
This gatehouse is no longer controlled by the Armagnacs.
Bring the injured to us so we can heal them. We fight by your side, Burgundians!
We will help you fight the Armagnac oppressors!
This gatehouse is no longer controlled by the Armagnacs. 2 monks from the Abbey of Saint-Martin have decided to join our forces.
We fight by your side, Burgundians!
Barbaric Armagnac soldiers took advantage of the general confusion. They stole the most precious artifacts from the university here in Paris. We should return these great pieces of French heritage.
We will help you fight the Armagnac oppressors!
We fight by your side, Burgundians!
This gatehouse is no longer controlled by the Armagnacs.
We will help you fight the Armagnac oppressors!
This gatehouse is no longer controlled by the Armagnacs.
We fight by your side, Burgundians!
We will help you fight the Armagnac oppressors!
This gatehouse is no longer controlled by the Armagnacs. This gatehouse is no longer controlled by the Armagnacs.
We fight by your side, Burgundians!
Zut alors! How did the Burgundian dogs manage to get so close to the palace?
This gatehouse is no longer controlled by the Armagnacs. Our enemies block the river, bringing all trade to a standstill. If we destroy the river blockade, the Merchants Guild will help us conquer the city. This gatehouse is no longer controlled by the Armagnacs.
We will help you fight the Armagnac oppressors!
This gatehouse is no longer controlled by the Armagnacs.
I am slain! Avenge me, my brothers! Avenge me!
What is this? Have the Burgundian daredevils beaten us to Paris? Damn you, John the Fearless!
Paris Paris was now in Burgundian hands, but in seizing the city, John had made an enemy of the English king. Not wanting to fight both the Armagnacs and the English at the same time, he moved to make peace with his friend. John and the Dauphin each arrived with 10 of their trusted men, and John knelt before the Dauphin as a show of respect. But as he rose, 2 men of the Dauphin's retinue, it was a trap. Before the meeting could even begin, John the Fearless was struck down and killed, while the Dauphin only watched, unperturbed. It was a fitting end for the man whose career had started with just such an assassination. The Burgundians were outraged. There would be no peace between the French factions, and Henry V. But while this marks the end of the story of John the Fearless, You see, my son, it was not John the Fearless who brought La Pucelle to the stake here in Rouen, but his son. Until this point, he had been ruling the Burgundian Low Countries in his family's name, presiding over an economic and cultural golden age in this corner of Europe. But his war against the Armagnacs would have the Duke of Bavaria, who had fought with John at the Battle of Auteuil many years before, once more called for help from the Burgundians. This time it was not against an Jacqueline of Hainaut was not a woman content with obeying orders. For a short time, she had been the queen-to-be of all of France. With her claim to the Low Countries contested by the Burgundians, she fled across the English Channel, where she married the Lord Protector of England. Together, they now were Philippe, seeing his northern realms under attack by an English renegade, rode north.
Your father once fought side by side with me, Philippe. Let us renew this old alliance and avenge the murder of John.
First my husband and my uncle tried to tell me what to do, and now you, Philippe? Has your mother not raised you to have any manners?
Bonjour. Y compreux. Immédiatement. Y vai.
My family has considerable influence in Cambrésis, and it just so happens that one of my relatives is a candidate to become the city's next bishop. Bring 2 relics there so that the Cambrésis will favor Burgundy.
Y vai, y compreux. Y bati.
I am an old man, without an heir. It is said that you are not only an ambitious, prudent ruler, but also a wealthy man. If you are willing to pay, I will bequeath you my county. I know that it would be in good hands with you, Philippe.
Immédiatement. Si, posorus, y compreux. Y vai.
whatever you do, Philippe, do not treat me as one of your brittle courtesans. I have spent my whole life hunting and watching intrigues unfold at court. I am no ordinary countess.
Jacqueline, you are as cunning and sly as a true Burgundian. If I had not known better, I would have sworn you to be my sister.
Si, immédiatement. Immédiatement. Si. Y va. Y va. Y va.
Bonjour.
Si. Immédiatement.
My forces are ready for combat, Philippe. Onwards to glory!
Si. Si.
vai, i batti, i bouge immédiatement, i batti, frappe.
Oh, how I would have loved to fight you in person, Philippe. A man that lives up to his reputation is a rare enough thing. Sadly, the boring old men in England think that I should not be fighting our allies.
titles are mine. You will have to pry them from my cold, dead hands before I give them up. To go. Very well, Philippe. You have won this round, but as long as I breathe, I will not bow to any man.
Hainaut is ours, and the English have fled. The lands are mine, and Humphrey and his English men are back on their way to England. Take Jocelyn to Ghent, where she can no longer do any harm.
Philippe treated his beaten foe with respect. While Jocelyn was a Burgundian only by marriage, her plot, while failed, even so, Jocelyn found her imprisonment in Ghent in Poland. Not long after her capture, her uncle, the Duke of Bavaria, was found dead, murdered by poison. It is unclear if Jocelyn was behind this. Some have even but do not let anyone hear you say that, my son. Regardless, Jocelyn used the ensuing chaos to escape her house arrest. Dressed in men's clothing, she fled to Holland. This is where we will stand tomorrow, my son, when Joan of Arc burns. Already they are dousing the pyre with oil. This is to be no ordinary fire, you see. For a long time, she was a nuisance to Duke Philippe. He never could understand her zealous wrath, her single-mindedness. But at this point, La Pucelle was not on Philippe's mind. For even as Joan dealt defeats to the Burgundian force in Holland, Jocelyn had found new supporters in the so-called Hooks, noblemen of low birth. For years, they had been fighting a civil war with the merchant class. Philippe now had to walk into this mire of old grudges and blood feuds to
Thankfully, For us, the enemy alliance is separated by the channel. Controlling the coast is the key to victory. We must not allow the English to come ashore in Browshaven or on the surrounding beaches.
Immédiatement.
Vosotros y compró. Sí, sí, compró.